So Snezhnaya is coming out this year, or at least I think it is. There is some speculation that there is going to be an interlude chapter before we get here. A whole version where there is no new nation, but instead we focus on the previous nations and tying up loose ends. Honestly, I like this idea, but at the same time I do understand and I don't like where they're putting this. I understand why they would want to put this before we go to Snezhnaya, since the Fatui is a very important part of the story, so tying up loose ends before we reach a breaking point in the plot makes sense. But I much prefer this happen after we go to Snezhnaya, because at least we'll have a little more to work with Snezhnaya in the interlude chapter. So here's what I'm thinking. After Act 6 concludes, the interlude version begins and we go back to Mondstadt. That's patch 1, and then we go to Liyue for patch 2, Inazuma for patch 3, then Sumeru for patch 4, on and on. I think you get the point. This is convenient because a version has 8 patches, and annual events like Lantern Rite will be taking place around the Liyue patch. And during this time we'll only have 7 nations to cover, so we'll still be able to do the summertime event. And during this version, every new character is from each of the 7 nations. There are pros, but there are also cons to this. If we do an interlude chapter, that means that every patch needs to be constantly moving the plot. And Hoyoverse likes to do filler patches every once in a while. Plus, there's the balancing act of doing every nation justice when covering them. It also could be a lot to cram in one patch to tie up every loose end that a nation has before we get to Conria. So obviously they won't be able to answer every question or cover everything. I can also see people being very frustrated because we're this close to Conria and Snezhnaya and then we're going backwards. So there's no telling if you'll have enough content to hold them over until that comes. Even with the cons, I still think an interlude chapter is important, as it can be a way to act on setup, like the burning of Irminsul in Sumeru. I really hope they do this. Sometimes Hoyoverse has the tendency to set up something and then just leave it there. But what do you think about an interlude version for Genshin? Let me know in the comments. Civilly, please. Thank you for watching to the end. I know it's not a lot of you, but I appreciate you anyway, so stay tuned to whatever I gotta say next. Okay, bye-bye!